666.
Okay, my one big
Smiley
thing.
face.
Yeah, smiley face, thumbs up. My one big thing, pretty short one here. It is getting late. Traffic is still heavy. Is the FII. It's coming up. It's in its 7th edition now and has a brand new slogan, which it actually rolled out earlier this year. I kind of missed it as it came out, but the new slogan's called The New Compass. Of course, the FII was first started in October 2017. And actually the theme of that year was the big shift. And so, they do these large sort of grand, big sweeping themes. And there really is no way that you can possibly capture what is happening at the FII with just one phrase, but it's good they try. It really is the flagship private sector event for the kingdom, one that's already now become sort of a global brand. I guess you could now, they've always called it Davos in the desert, but you can put it on that level now because of the quality of speakers and participants they get. And in recent years, it's, and especially last year, it got bigger and bigger and bigger. It truly was massive, and it swelled, frankly, to an impressive sight to be seen. It was no longer a conference. It was like a mega event, almost like a huge music festival without the music, although there was music. It's an indescribable sort of event, and it's now become Saudi Arabia's flagship event. You had incredible speakers last year, panels from the public and private sector. You always have that. The setting of course, is the Ritz, and that's an attraction in and of itself. You have so much going on. You honestly can't even appreciate it because it's just, it's only a few days. It's so big. There are so many people. There are different panels and discussions going on at the same time, big and small. You'll have little breakouts going on. So it's like, you kind of just wander around and are like, this is incredible, but at the same time, there's a criticism that it's a little bit overwhelming, that it's trying to be so much that it's hard to really find the sweet spot depending on what industry you're in. Just imagine the biggest conference in the world, but done with absolutely no expense spared or every detail totally dialed in. And I mention that because this year it appears that it's no longer quite as based on invitation only, but now it appears to be shifting to membership only. Before you had to be invited by the PIF, the Ministry of Investment, or event organizers. Now it looks like you can get in without an invitation, but you need to join the FII Institute. And I think that is running about $10,000 a year
startups.
for the FII membership. Yeah, for an individual. And then that gets you in as a business, and then subsequent people from your same business have their price go down, but it's still like $8,000 or $7,000 for the next person. So, there are people here that are saying, well, that's like really expensive, for one event. The reality is it's not really one event. And this is, I guess, my one big thing. And the point of it is that this is an event that is shifting into being a true institution. It already has done that. They actually have like a VC fund, and they make investments from the fund. They have, ongoing events throughout the world. They have conversations going on LinkedIn and social media. They have little individual FII events in different countries around the world with different themes. They did something in Miami not too long ago. But, just FII, the star of the show is Saudi Arabia. It's the new Saudi Arabia, the Saudi Arabia that has changed, and you have to see it to believe it. Saudi Arabia, it's like, it just really encapsulates everything going on here right now, which is just change and modernization and trying not to just fit in with the rest of the world, but lead the rest of the world. And, if there's a Academy Award for the best supporting actor, Richard, it's the PIF. You see the PIF wherever you go in that event. And we're going to get to it in a second with Dr. Robert Mogilnicki, who's wonderful. But you can just see the PIF's importance to the Saudi economy and see it as an emblem of Saudi Arabia's economic aspirations. It's in full display. You have the Saudi Coffee Company is like the coffee stand for you to get coffee at in the show. And you have, dates, and all the PIF companies are represented. Of course, other companies are represented in terms of like booths and everything. But, it's just like, it's a purely, I am registered to go. I hope to see it. I hope to see what happens, because it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if it got smaller. It got, I don't want to say more exclusive, but it got more focused and, became less of how many people can we get in here? How many investors can we get in here to, what kind of investors and what kind of thought leaders, and plus Lucien, what's he doing here? But I mean, like, it just would be interesting to see where they go with this thing, because it did go in one direction, bigger, bigger, bigger. And it was cool to see it at its biggest. And, I don't know what's going to happen next, but it really, congratulations to the organizers, because I can only imagine that being just the most stressful and difficult job. If you're doing event management, to run something like this. Richard Attias, obviously the best in the business. They are, I think, have PIF as an investor, but they're just so professional. And that's why the event is professional. So hats off to them. Hope to see some listeners and viewers in Riyadh for the FII this year.
That's a good one, and it's nice to do it in advance so people can start anticipating. And by the way, and the Richard Attias Associates, they are amazing, and they run a lot of things out there. Just for I looked it up when you mentioned it, because I think it's interesting and it will be telling. So for individuals, it's $15K. This is a membership. Mm-hmm. So as you said, now you don't get invited. Some people will be invited by membership, but you can get in if you buy a membership. So the individuals, $15K. For corporations, $15 a year. So 15 for the first team member, 12K for every additional member. And then for startups, 10K. There's not a scrabbling digital media plucky organization level, where we would fit in, for maybe $500. So they don't have that. So we won't be getting a membership. But I do think it's interesting. I think I like the timing of doing it. So you said this is the 7th, and it's a testament to just getting started. When it first started, when they first initially, launched this, Davos in the desert, somebody that was sort of said, not necessarily complimentary. I mean, it was sort of said, we'll see what happens, but it's become quite the institution. It does an annual report, just like you said. It has meetings throughout the year. It has commentary throughout the year, very much like the World Economic Forum. And it's established a gravity of its own. And it will be really interesting to see how many people show up, because that's your litmus test. These people are willing to pay to be in the room. And that is really the ultimate, measurement of the work you're doing and how people value the work you're doing. It'll be really interesting. And you've always said that it's a big sort of, festive, huge glitz atmosphere. If it's a smaller one, it might even be more effective.
You don't even need to do all of the extra bells and whistles. It's at the Ritz, and it's at the King Abdulaziz International Conference Center, I think it's called. It's right next to the Ritz, and it looks just like the Ritz. Yes. It's you don't even need to gussy that place up. It looks so cool. It's unbelievable to see. So it's but they still do, and it's still amazing. Yeah. So I will report back on how it is, and if there are indeed fewer people. It was weird. I had a lot of friends that came from I knew from college. I saw there they, a couple of them live in Europe and are doing investments, and they came. I was like, what are you doing here? They're like, well, we had to see it, investment opportunities and everything. It was also last year was right around the collapse of FTX, was essentially happening either the week of or the week after. And I sort of remember there being a lot of people interested in crypto there. I remember getting a lot of DMs on the FII app about crypto, which is cool, I guess. But yeah, so I just completely agree. And just one more point, I think you have events like this, and that's a lot of money, $10,000. But if you're going to pay to be in the room and it's worth it, then it's worth every penny. The right executives would pay a multiple on this to be in the room with other people. So, right. And it happens all the time in academia and other spaces. So, and you can follow along if you don't want to shake loose the coin. You can follow along on the internet. They post everything. Everything's digital. You can get the app. It's like you're getting all the information. So, yeah, congrats to the organizers and congrats to the PIF and the FII, which has actually now become a really, established institution.